Hi everyone. I'm a 31-year-old guy who thought I had my life figured out. I work as an IT professional, make a decent living, and have been engaged to my fiancée, F, 29, for about a year. F seemed perfect at first, charming, funny, and with just the right amount of ambition. We had plans, dreams, and what I thought was a mutual respect for each other. Turns out I was dead wrong. It all started a few months ago when F began acting distant. She started working late, spending more time with her friends, and generally being secretive. I didn't think much of it at first. Everyone has busy periods, right? But then the small things started to pile up. She'd get defensive when I asked about her day. She'd keep her phone glued to her side, and she'd occasionally snap at me for no apparent reason. One night, I decided to ask her outright if something was wrong. Her reaction floored me. "You don't trust me, do you?" She asked, her voice sharp. "If you're so paranoid, maybe you're the one hiding something." The accusation caught me off guard, and I dismissed it as a knee-jerk reaction to being questioned. But then she started dropping odd hints during conversations, like how cheating is more common than people think, or how it's hard to resist temptation when things get tough in a relationship. I began to wonder if she was projecting, but still, I didn't confront her directly. Instead, I decided to keep an eye on things. The incident that changed everything. About 2 weeks later, I came home from work to find 2 police officers standing on my doorstep. They were there to question me about an alleged domestic incident. Apparently, someone had called in claiming I had been emotionally abusive and was cheating on my fiancée, which led her to fear for her safety. I was stunned. Not only was this completely false, but I had no idea where it was coming from. I cooperated fully, showing them text messages, emails, and other evidence that clearly refuted these claims. The officers left after realizing there was no substance to the allegations. But the damage was done. My neighbors saw the whole thing, and I was humiliated. When F got home later that evening, I confronted her. "What the hell is going on?" I demanded. "Why are the police showing up at my door with claims I'm abusive?" She looked at me with an expression that can only be described as calculated innocence. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, her voice steady. Maybe someone misunderstood something I said. That's when I realized she wasn't just being distant. She was actively sabotaging me. I decided to dig deeper. Over the next few days, I went through our shared bank account and noticed several unexplained withdrawals and charges. Fancy dinners, hotel stays, and boutique purchases. All things she hadn't mentioned to me. I also checked her phone bill and noticed a recurring number that she was texting and calling frequently. I decided to investigate further and found out the number belonged to a guy she worked with. Let's call him M. The confrontation. Armed with this information, I confronted her again. "Are you seeing him?" I asked, holding up the phone bill. Her face went pale for a moment before she regained her composure. "You're spying on me now?" She snapped. "You're unbelievable. That's not an answer." I shot back. "Are you seeing him?" She smirked, and that's when her mask slipped. "And what if I am?" she said. "Maybe if you weren't so boring, I wouldn't have to look elsewhere." It was like a switch flipped inside me. All the doubts, the excuses I had made for her, the trust one had placed in her, it all vanished in an instant. I told her I was done and that I wanted her out of my house by the end of the week. But F wasn't about to let me walk away that easily. The lies and the setup. The next day, I got a call from my boss. Someone had emailed HR, claiming I was using company resources to spy on my fiancée and had included fabricated screenshots as proof. Luckily, I had a good relationship with my boss and was able to explain the situation, providing evidence that cleared my name. But it was clear F was trying to destroy me on every front. Her next move was even more outrageous. She contacted my parents, telling them I had been cheating on her and that she was devastated. My mother called me in tears, asking how I could betray such a wonderful woman. It took hours to convince my family that F was lying. And even then, there were lingering doubts. It was infuriating. She was playing the victim, painting me as the villain and trying to ruin my reputation. But I wasn't going to let her win, planning my revenge. At this point, I decided it was time to fight back. I hired a private investigator to gather evidence of her affair with him. Within a week, I had everything I needed. Photos of them together at a hotel, receipts for their romantic dinners, and even a recording of them talking about how they were waiting for the right moment to make their relationship public. I also consulted a lawyer to protect myself legally. He advised me to document everything and to avoid any contact with F unless it was through a mediator. Following his advice, I sent her a formal notice outlining my intent to break off our engagement and requesting that she vacate my property within 30 days. The fallout. When F received the notice, she lost it. She called me, screaming and threatening to ruin my life if I didn't reconsider. When that didn't work, she tried to play nice, leaving me tearful voicemails about how she made a mistake and wanted to work things out. I ignored her. Meanwhile, I shared the evidence of her affair with our mutual friends and my family. The tide quickly turned in my favor, and F found herself isolated. Even her own friends started distancing themselves from her when they realized the extent of her lies. But the final blow came when I decided to go public with everything. I posted a detailed account of what had happened, complete with evidence, on social media. I didn't name names, but made it clear enough that anyone who knew us would understand. The response was overwhelming. People reached out to offer support, and several mutual friends even apologized for believing F's lies. As for F, she was humiliated. Her affair with M became public knowledge, and she lost several work opportunities because of the scandal. M dumped her shortly afterward, realizing she was more trouble than she was worth. The legal showdown while F was dealing with the fallout. She made one last desperate attempt to get back at me. She filed a frivolous lawsuit, claiming emotional distress and defamation due to my social media post. My lawyer assured me the case was baseless, but advised me to prepare thoroughly just in case. We went to court, and I made sure to bring every piece of evidence I had: her false accusations to the police, the emails to my HR department, the private investigator's findings, and her threats. My lawyer shredded her arguments, pointing out that everything I had posted was factual and that she had no proof of any emotional distress beyond her embarrassment at being exposed. In a particularly satisfying moment, the judge even reprimanded her for wasting the court's time. Her case was dismissed, and I countersued for defamation and legal fees. Not only did I win, but F was ordered to pay a significant amount in damages. Watching her face as the judgment was read was the ultimate vindication. The sweet taste of revenge. F's life spiraled after that. Words spread quickly in our social circles, and even at her workplace. She was let go from her job, not because of our personal drama, but because her reputation had taken such a hit that clients didn't want to work with her anymore. Meanwhile, I made it my mission to ensure she couldn't pull the same stunt on someone else. Using the legal judgment in my favor, I reported her actions to her professional licensing board. She worked in a field that required certification. They launched an investigation, and she ended up losing her license due to unethical conduct, effectively ending her career. And M, he didn't escape unscathed either. His company got wind of his involvement, and he was quietly let go. Apparently, they had a zero-tolerance policy for employees engaging in relationships that could lead to reputational harm. Moving on, with F out of my life, I was finally able to focus on myself. I reconnected with friends, threw myself into my work, and even took up some new hobbies. It wasn't easy rebuilding my life after the chaos she caused, but it was worth it. The experience taught me some hard lessons about trust, boundaries, and the importance of standing up for yourself when someone tries to tear you down. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that people like F thrive on manipulation and deceit, but they crumble when faced with the truth. Reflection. Looking back, I don't regret how things turned out. Yes, it was painful, humiliating, and exhausting, but in the end, I came out stronger. F thought she could destroy me and walk away unscathed, but instead, she ended up exposing herself for who she truly was. To anyone reading this, trust your instincts, protect yourself, and never let someone else dictate your worth. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply living well, though, in this case, a little poetic justice didn't hurt either.